the Outdoor Drive Podcast.
All right, welcome back to the podcast. We are actually in a very special place. We are at Mad Man Martic, sitting around the campfire. I guess it's one of those like special things that, I don't know, that I kind of wanted to do sometime, and we kind of did it. So this is your boy East Coast Trev, and we have...
This is Steve.
Oh, and...
The Mad Man Martic.
Oh, we're all here hanging out. We're in Connecticut. It's opening week of turkey season, and things have just been absolutely phenomenal here. I guess, you know, when we had gotten to Mad Man Martic's, he came out on the porch and he's like, dude, it's like rut. Because everybody is calling in and just saying, I just knocked a bird down. I just knocked a bird down. I just knocked a bird down. And it's just like, it's so cool. It really honestly is. And our week has started off with an absolute and utterly bang. It really has. Opening day, I guess, you know, we're just sitting around the fire and we're just going to chat it up and just a good old bullshit session of kind of how everything has kind of played out for us in the past couple of days. There's all kinds of YouTube videos and all kinds of really cool stuff to come. So make sure if you guys haven't already, get on over and check that stuff out. I say this every single podcast. So if you haven't done that, you're just missing out on life. But no, my I guess I mean, what do you guys think? Should I start with the opening day? I mean, how could we do this?
Well, first of all, cheers, gentlemen.
Oh yeah. All right, slow it down.
Cheers.
Welcome to the hill.
What are we drinking?
We appreciate
This
that.
is some, sorry, I got to talk into the mic. Some wild turkey rare breed.
Whoa, for turkey season.
Puffing on a cigar
That's how we celebrate.
next to the first campfire of the year. Doesn't get any better than this.
No, it really doesn't. No, he just leaves it like that. He's not a podcaster, I can tell. he's hoping that
That's
somebody
why he's
else,
the manager.
He would hope that somebody else like has a response or whatever the case may be, right? No, our season has been absolutely phenomenal, right from the get go. Especially in here in Connecticut So my season, I'll kick it off, man, and go right into it because you guys really want to hear.
I was going to take him.
Yeah. Hey, whoa, watch your mouth over there, bro. So on opening day, I had the pleasure to hunt with two gentlemen that I actually met on a piece of property that I hunt, and I got to take both of them out, Eric and Justin, and got to hunt with those guys. Called an absolute hammer of a bird in, and he came in on an absolute string. Came right into the Jake decoy, 15 steps, and I think, you know, as being a first-time turkey hunter for Justin, you could just see it, the emotion. Like, you guys have definitely hunted with first-time turkey hunters, right? And myself, I should have described it to him a little bit better, right? I should have told him what's going to happen. Like, if that turkey comes in, he's going to hit that Jake decoy, and he's just going to annihilate it. Like, you have all day. Like, his mind is set on that one thing, right? And some people may not know that, you know, because they might not get to that point where they let him light him up or whatever the case may be. So I didn't explain to Justin at all. I just said, go sit over there. When he comes in, shoot him in the face, right? Because I'm thinking I'm hunting with my hunting buddies, right? So this thing comes into 15 steps, and I'm like, all right, shoot him. Actually, hold on, let me wind it back 1 second, because so the bird's coming, and he's sitting there with the gun, but the gun's not up yet, and I know that the bird's starting to roll in because it's getting louder and louder and louder, and so I have to yell at him. I'm like, Justin, raise up your gun, get ready, he's coming fast too, and he's kind of coming down on a downward hill angle. So I'm like, you know, we're very exposed at this point, a little bit tricky, boundary line wise, houses, so on and so forth. So we kind of were pinched in this one area. Well, so the bird comes in, and he's almost to the decoy, and Justin shoots, and he misses, and he goes to shoot again, and he misses again. And, you know, it's all good, right? Because these things happen, and I go up to him, and he's all upset, and I'm like, bro, that's turkey hunting. I says, you got the needle in the arm, man. That's what it's all about. The adrenaline is just where it's supposed to be, and things are the way it's supposed to be. But I can think one thing I take for granted is I forget to tell these people that stuff and let them know exactly what's going on. So as the day starts to go on, we start moving, but the wind starts getting up. And one of the things that we've been dealing with in the past couple of days is the really bad wind. The wind has sucked so much here. I mean, having 25, 30 mile an hour winds. So we moved on. We went and hunted another spot. No luck. Couldn't get anything to gobble. It was really tough. And then around 2:30, 3 o'clock, a good friend of mine, Don, we hunt a spot together. And he's like, hey, man, you want to go into this spot I didn't hunt this morning? And I was like, all right, yeah, let's go, man. So we went in there. And we couldn't get a gobble. Just because the wind and whatever else was going on, just could not get a strike. So I said, well, hey, man, we can always go check the other spot that we went and we just smashed birds in 6 years ago. And it was just one of the times of our lives. So we decided that, screw it. We're going to go over there and we're going to hunt. So we get on over there, and the birds were right where we wanted them. So we sneak into this one spot, and we grab the crossbow and this, that, and the other thing. It is a bow-only area, which that's going to play a big part in this, because just pay attention to that, because in the next, like, Tales for Tailgater episode of what actually in real life or podcast land would be today, right? So while we're recording this. So we go in there, and I called in 3 hammer longbeards. And so they come in, and I get them to like 15 yards, and I got the crossbow. As you'll see in the video, I was a little bit set back, and then I worked my way forward, finally getting behind a log, and there's 3 giant longbeards sitting there, and I sneak up on them, and I end up calling them back a couple of yards and ended up getting a shot on him. So I thinking that I 12 ring this thing. So he goes down, he's flapping on the ground, and me having shot turkeys with the archery before, I'm like, I got to run up there and grab it, you know?
Because you said that like Bobby. I've shot it with the archery.
So, but you know that you have to jump right on those birds so they don't run away. So I jump up, and I run down to go grab him. Well, when I jumped up, he jumped up, and I knew it was on. So he goes and he jumps in the swamp. Well, I jumped in the swamp too, and the problem is that swamp was like waist deep. So by the time I get probably 75 feet, I'm out of breath. I'm dying. I'm having an asthma attack. The thing's starting to go up the hill, and it hits a field. Well, I didn't see where it went after the field, and I ended up losing the bird. I couldn't find the bird, and it tore me up, man. I was really upset about it. I went back and reviewed the footage. Couldn't really see the shot in it, but he like flipped over, and I was just like, man, what the hell? Like, what did I do so wrong? And I searched forever. The 2 of us, we just walked everywhere trying to find it. We couldn't find it, and that was kind of the day, you know. And then for day 2, we planned on meeting up with the Mad Man Martic and hunting together, which was definitely fun. The morning we met up. What time do we meet up?
4 a.m.
4 a.m. to get on a piece of public, and as you guys may or may not know, but they start gobbling at 5:15. So we're sitting in the parking lot, and that guy showed up
4:30,
and we're just like
expecting to be the first one there.
Yeah, and we're like, well, Bub. He goes, where are you headed? Down to the left. He goes, yeah, I'm going to go down the tote road, and then I'm going to go down on the split, take a left. And I'm like, yeah, that's right where we're going, Bub. We're going all the way in the back.
Yeah, and it's not a very big piece of public.
Not by any means.
There's not a lot of room for two guys to work the area.
It's all or nothing, right? So we end up getting in there, and right where the birds had, I knew the birds would be, and we weren't even set up yet when we got the first gobble, right?
No, we were just walking out onto the flat.
And one lights up. So I was like, all right, they're right where they need to be. They're going to come up onto this flat. And I says, we're going to shoot them in the face. Well, no sooner than I said that, we hear.
Well, no, we thought we saw a headlamp.
Oh, that's right. We thought we saw a headlamp. That's right. I forgot about that. Yep.
And we were hemming and hawing. Was that a headlamp? I think it was a headlamp. And we couldn't figure it out because it didn't make sense where the headlamp was coming from.
But it was right. It went right to left.
Down in the bottom on the same elevation as the gobbler.
It went, yeah. So it went from right to left, and then but then the calling was back to the right. Like he had gone back. Like he's like, oh crap, I went too far. And he's right underneath the birds. And that's why I said to you, I'm like, oh, geez, man, he's right on.
Now, mind you, this bird's already gobbled 5 times on his own.
That is.
He's
very
already
true.
gobbling.
Yeah,
Nobody's done anything.
He's on fire.
He's gobbled 5 times.
Mm-hmm. And so the sun's starting to come up, but not legal shooting light. The birds are definitely still in the trees, and I hear.
Wait, in Connecticut, it's not normal to locate birds that are self-locating?
No, why would you do that?
I just want to make
It's
sure.
becoming more normal.
It's becoming way more.
Apparently.
We just want to hear him gobble 4 more times for no reason. Hey, dumbass, they're right there. Like, just set up, bub. They're gonna keep going. Once they start, they're not gonna stop.
But that wasn't enough.
Oh no, dude! So it goes. Dude, it's not even light enough for a crow to be even out of its nest. And then I hear.
That sounds like me last year in Virginia.
Like all 3 simultaneously,
you-
5 seconds in between.
Yeah, you actually took too long.
All right, so it went like this. It went like this.
Give him this is real time rundown.
And you're like,
So I turn my shoulder. I look over my shoulder at Trev and I say, "Man, this avian bird flu is no joke."
it's just like, really, bro? Like the bird is already gobbled. You're underneath the fucking thing. You've now kicked it off the roost because now it hadn't made no noise after the fact.
Never gobbled again.
Never gobbled again, dude. Never did it gobble again. I could not believe it. And it, so me and Martic are sitting there, and the sun starts to come up, and I'm like, I'm on him. Nothing. Nothing. I'm like, dude, what in the world are we going to do? So Martic, was it you that noticed that there was a...
I heard her first.
Oh, you heard her. That's right.
About 40 yards, the same elevation as us, straight left.
And she's like tree yelping at me. And I'm like, oh, what the freak? Like, all right. Nothing, dude. So she ended up obviously seeing us because she sat up in the tree and then ends up coming down. It was like maybe like 6 o'clock. She ends up dumping out of the tree. And I said to Martic, I says, bro, this is pretty much a waste of time. We got to keep moving. So about that time is when the wind started to pick up. The sun comes up, the wind starts to kick up, and it just was downhill from there, man. It was absolutely downhill from there. We literally put miles and miles and miles and miles on the boots, on the truck, just trying to locate a bird, and no such luck. We didn't strike up a single bird all day long, man, just hiking through the woods. And so at 2:30, I had to go for a service for my truck. So whatever. So we split our ways. I'm like, all right, Martic, dude, I'm going to go down and get service for my truck. I says, let's hunt tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'll catch you tomorrow.
We had already made plans for
the
morning.
next day,
Yep.
right? Yep. So we end up kicking it loose. I go to do the service for my truck, and I don't know what the hell he went to go do, honestly. I have not a clue. All right, I don't know. What did you do?
Well,
You went to McDonald's.
first thing I did, I stopped at McDonald's, got that number 5 with the sweet and sour sauce.
Jeez.
Because I was hungry. I mean, that was
What's a number 5?
the 10-piece nugget.
Oh, all right, I guess. You don't get the 20 piece, bro?
No.
Why not? You can't do 20?
I could do 20, I just don't need 20.
I know someone else that's about to do 20, but go on.
Drink to that, boys. If
Yes,
you
sir.
know, you know.
If you know, you know.
So, yeah, I was starving. I mean, rewind just a little bit. Right around probably the last piece of public we ran through before we split. Sorry, guys, we're smoking some backwoods here.
Give me it.
They were talking so long that they went dry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens.
I could tell, like, the last piece of public me and Trev went into together, we rolled up on it. It looked good to me. I'd never been there. I don't know. Had you been there before?
I shed hunted it,
Yeah.
looking for
It looked good.
antlers.
It
and deer.
was kind of like a narrow strip. You had like hay fields on the right, swamp on the left, and there was just a strip hardwoods down the middle with like a not a 2-track, but like a hiking trail right through the rip. And I said, "Come on, let's go, man. We've been driving around. long enough. Like we got to do something. You could tell Trev was like not really feeling it. I said, come on, we got
Freaking over it.
Yeah,
40-mile-an-hour winds.
And I, my little killer's gonna kill mentality's kicking in. I'm like, come on, we just got to.
All right, time out. You said it. I really want. I do want to get with the story, but I want to go down that rabbit hole really quick because I had asked you a question yesterday, and with the whole killer's gonna kill kind of thing, and I was like, do you think it's an arrogant thing to say? Is that a one-off to say, like, that we're better than somebody or whatever? And I said, I want to hear your opinion. It's your words. It's your hashtag. You kind of brought it to life with us. So can you explain it to us so that everybody knows when we say it, what it actually means to us, and it's not that arrogant, bad thing when something is to be said about it?
It's a little arrogant.
Oh, well, it's definitely arrogant, but
first of
you know
all,
what I'm saying. Like, it's not like...
Right.
Just explain.
First of all, I know I adopted it from somewhere. I would love to give credit where. I just don't know.
Apocalypse Now.
Right. Someone, I heard it somewhere. I kind of stole it, I guess, not, one way or the other. But, I started using it. And to me, it's more like a mentality. When things get hard, when it's time to grind, whether it be turkey season or deer season or anything, a true killer is going to find a way to get it done. You know what I mean? What it is, it's a spur of the moment thing. It's a stop and think, like, what the hell's going on? I ain't seen a deer in 2 days. I've hunted high, I've hunted low. The deer got to be somewhere. Where are the deer? Or I haven't struck up a turkey. Why? They're somewhere. Where are they? Like, the killer's going to figure that out, and they're always going to figure out a way to just get it done.
On a windy day, we're not sitting on the couch. We're out there getting it because you need to get it.
You got to. Something's going to happen. If nothing happens, nothing happens. But you just any little intel you can take and just keep the mind turning and figuring out. I know this is a turkey talk, but like the best way I can describe it is like the last couple deer seasons. Whether you killed or not, like. There's always an excuse for having a bad deer season. Like this past season, 2021, tons of acorns everywhere. And you'd see a ton of guys on Facebook like, I'm not seeing any deer. There's too many acorns. Well, killer's going to kill. Killer's going to figure out how to beat that. You go back to...
You're going to find that bed to food no matter what.
Something.
You got that killer instinct.
Whatever it is, you're going to figure it out.
You're going almost primal.
And you're going to get it done. 2020 deer season, it was hot. Remember, it was like 80, 90 degree, not 90, but it was upper 70s, low 80s.
Miller rut.
Early November.
Yep.
And everybody on Facebook, bitching and moaning about how hot it was and the deer aren't moving. Well, killer's going to kill. Killer's going to figure out where those deer are,
Your consecutive deer killers or turkey killers always are killing no matter what it is.
Right.
And that's what makes the killers.
So when you say, is it arrogant? Yeah, it's a little arrogant, but you either got it or you don't. You can't. It's hard to teach,
right?
It's just something. It's a switch inside your brain that just clicks on, and you just go into kill mode.
Now, there's one piece I want to throw into that, just to clarify to some folks that we're not saying if you're not getting birds or deer that you're not a killer,
right?
Because you got to take into play that. If you're not on land that don't have deer or turkeys, you can't kill deer or turkeys that aren't there. But it's going to take a killer's mentality to find a place where they are.
Correct.
Yeah, you almost have to stop for a second, and you almost got to get pissed off. Like, what the fuck? What do I got to do? What am I doing wrong? What am I not doing? I'm missing something.
Right.
What can I do to make this happen? And like you said, if the deer or turkeys aren't there, maybe you got to go to a new piece of public or figure something out. Try something. Wing
right.
it,
Because
maybe that doesn't work.
The best turkey caller in the world can't call a turkey, and if there isn't a turkey there to call.
Right.
So you got to make those shifts and know when to make them. You can't just beat your head against the wall.
Right. And you can't keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, wondering why it's not. You got to make an adjustment or change something at some point.
Right.
That's definitely important. So go back to the story. What you're going to say? Killer's going to kill.
I got my McDonald's. And
good pickup, by the way.
I was actually, it was good McDonald's too, man. I was starving. So I was actually going to pop into a piece of very small piece of private that I deer hunt a lot. I see a lot of turkeys there in the fall, flocked up. Doesn't mean they're there in the spring. I hadn't really scouted or anything like that. On my way to that piece of private, there's a piece of public, in between us, and this is a piece of public that, it's my stomping grounds. I grew up on the edge of it. I used to run through there as a kid playing. I drive still to this day. I drive around that 3-4 times a night in the summertime looking for deer and all that stuff. So a lot of times in the morning on my way to work, I call it the long way. It's really not that long, but I'll take a ride through there just to see if I'm going to work and it's deer season. I go over to the public just to see what trucks are in what parking lot and all that stuff. So anyways, I'm on my way to the piece of private. What the hell? I'm gonna swing through the public and see who's hunting. Steve's over here throwing a couple extra logs on the fire.
Yeah, he's loading up the fire, stoking it up.
Steve, you throw an all-nighter on there for us, bub.
he must be cold or something, bub.
He's a southern boy, He's
I'm south of the Mason-Dixon boy.
Welcome to the north. Plus, we're a little high.
You can keep your weather.
Little higher elevation up here on the hill too.
So you get on that piece of public where, is your stomping grounds and stuff.
Yeah. So mind you, I've had a hell of a time this season just locating a bird preseason. I mean, I've gotten up early, a couple times a week before work, checking for birds. And this piece of public I've been to multiple times, and I've tried every access point there is, secret access points that nobody has. I've got access from private property that nobody can use. I can't roost a bird to save my life here. So I'm coming over, the main road through the public. There's nobody hunting. There's no trucks anywhere. And as I'm coming down the hill, it dawns on me there's one spot that I never really got into. It's a little ways from the parking lot. It's a little bit of walk, but it's a bottom. And I'm thinking, well, that's a leeward side because it's been windy. That's what's been kicking our ass all day. And, I never got into that bottom. So I was like, what the hell? So I pull into the parking lot, get out. I might walk 300 yards down the 2-track from the gate. And
I just had to readjust.
Oh, okay.
Where's that lighter? I've been talking too long. I ain't smoking.
It's tough.
So anyway, I'm about 300-400 yards from the gate, and I pull out the Nor'easter. What is that? The Outdoor Drive pot call series.
Yeah.
And I give it a couple rips, and my jaw about hit the dirt because I heard a gobble.
One lit off.
Come
on.
And you got to remember, I haven't heard a gobble since 5:20 that morning.
And the funny thing, so at that point, I'm getting serviced on my truck. I'm about to pull into the place. I just talked to the service manager, just gave him my truck, and Martic texted me, and was like, I just struck one up. And I'm like, bro, I'm servicing my truck. Like, dude, don't do this to me right now. Like, what do you mean? He's like, listen, I'm 12 minutes from where you're at. He goes, I just struck him up. I can't get him to come in on this side. He hit the dam. I need to go around the other side. I'm going to fly over the other side. He goes, text me when you're done. I was like, all right, I'll text you when I'm done. So,
let me jump in there real quick. So this piece of public, so I'm on the 2-track. Like I said before, I know the property very well. I strike him up. He's on the hill across. Growing up, it was a swamp, but the beavers got in there the last few years, and they kind of dammed it up. So now it's standing water, 50, 60 yards wide. He's on the other side of the beaver pond up on the hill. For one, I'm downhill, and I don't want to try to call him down across the swamp. Two, I don't think I can get him. I mean, unless he's going to fly across the water. I ain't that good of a caller, Nor'easter or not. You know what I mean? So the first thing I did was I pulled out my phone. I thought to myself, all right, he sounds like he's about 300 yards away. I measured out 300 yards on hunt stand, and I dropped the pin where I thought he was. Then I turned around and walked back to the truck. So that's when I called you.
Yep.
And I actually,
That's what happened.
Yeah, and I remember I said something. I don't remember how it went, but I remember I went to say to you, I was like, I'm gonna fucking kill him today. But I wasn't talking to Trev. I was actually talking to the mechanic working on his truck because his Bluetooth picked up the conversation. So all the mechanic heard me say is, I'm gonna fucking kill him today. And then
That poor guy.
So anyway, so then, Trev disconnects the Bluetooth. Me and Trev get back on the phone. I said, listen, I'm getting in the truck. I'm gonna leave him where he's at. I'm gonna get in the truck. I'm gonna drive back around to the backside. There's another parking spot.
Could you imagine being the mechanic and you're just driving the car and you just about shit yourself? Some dude just says, I'm gonna fucking kill him today.
Hey,
Could you imagine being that guy?
killer's gonna kill.
Whether it is mechanic or not.
So I get in the truck, and I feel like a lot of people might not take the time to do that. Maybe like I've only been turkey on 5-6 years, so I'm consider myself very novice. But I feel like a lot of people, you strike up a bird, you get excited, and you start working the bird. And I try to. We'll get into this a little later in the episode, but I'm a little bit more methodical. I like to stop and think for a second because it's only a second.
You're hunting with the wrong guy, bud.
Oh yeah. So I get excited. I hear the gobble, but I don't get too carried away. I stop and I think about my next move because it's a chess match out there when you're working turkeys, and every little move you make is going to be a make or break situation. Whether you get it done or not. So rather than, oh my God, there he is, let me keep calling to him, let me start working this bird, I stop working the bird. I drop the pin, I turn around, I walk back to the truck. I get in the truck, pull out of the parking lot, drive up the road, get up above him, pull in another parking lot. And there's actually a parking lot on both sides of the road. I was so scared that I was going to bump this bird. I actually parked on the opposite side of the road and crossed the road and dropped in. So as I dropped in, again, I was thinking ahead, and I wanted to work the terrain. I didn't want to just go right in at him. I kind of wanted to come around the outside. So I used the terrain. I dropped in. I got into a safe spot, pull out the call. I let out some yelps. Nothing. So I gave it a couple minutes, and I'm listening. Nothing. Couple more yelps. Nothing. I'm like, I don't believe it. So the only thing I could think of is maybe when I struck him up, he started to come, and he was heading for my original location. So I kind of backed out again because I didn't want to get too close to the bird. So I used the terrain, little hill, came around the backside. I got right on the edge of where it drops off into that beaver swamp. And I pulled out my phone. I figured I was about 100 yards from where I had dropped that pin. And hit the call again, and he hammered right back. Right. He was right about where I dropped the pin. So by now, Trev's texting me, and he's like, what were you, 3 minutes out? 3 minutes from the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm not at the gate. I told Trev where I was parked. I was like, wait, when you get there, just stay at the truck now. This bird's right here. There's no way you're going to get in here. By the time Trev was pulling in the parking lot, a hen came through. She passed through. She was clear, and he was right behind her, right on her ass. And then he hung up he wasn't too far. He's about 50 yards. And I'm working the bird, and I'm just, I tried every trick in the book. I got quiet on him, tried to piss him off. That didn't work. I tried scratching leaves. That didn't work. I started getting mouthy with him. That didn't work. And it felt like eternity, but in all honesty, it was like maybe 15. That's good. 15, 20 minutes of trying to get this bird to break strut.
He dropped his pocket.
Oh.
Maybe 15, 20 minutes working this bird, and he's just holding tight, just strutting. I could hear him spitting. But he was just holding there. Well, I had just bought a fan.
Uh-oh.
Don't hate me. No, so I bought a Montana decoy, like 2-dimensional, folds up, sticks to your wrist. I've been carrying it around.
All day?
No, for all 3 days.
Oh,
Very
okay.
lightweight, folds up, And it was one of those things where I didn't plan on using it. It was like I'd rather, have it, not need it, and then need it, not have it.
It's like a sidearm.
Yeah. So the way the bird was, I was above him. It was perfect. And he was in a little dip, so most of the time I could just see his head, and I kept losing him down there. But he really wasn't going anywhere, but I couldn't find him. And I kept trying to peek up so I could see where he was. And I just didn't have enough height to it's like I was stuck. I couldn't get any higher. So I was like, you know what? Let me see what this fan's all about. I've never used one. So I reach back in my vest, I pull it out, I deploy it. So, yep. I'm not.
No, it went like.
well, I had the Tacticam running on the gun. So you know how that is. Any little noise or click, when you touch the stock of that gun, it always sounds way louder than it really is. So the decoy hits the gun, you hear a little clank, didn't bother the bird. So I'm not holding this decoy at ground level. It's like almost above my head, just because it had to be that high for the bird to actually see it. So he sees it, and he's probably at like 45, 50 yards, and he turns and looks, and he doesn't like it. But he doesn't just come charging in. He comes in about another 10 yards. Well, as he gets closer, because of the way the elevation is, he starts disappearing behind the hill. So as he gets closer and he disappears, I start standing up more. Before you know it, I'm stood up completely on both feet. I'm behind a tree, not in front of a tree. I'm behind a big tree, and I'm peeking out this fan. Well, it gets to the point where he's getting so close, I can't see him at all fully stood up because he's behind the hill. And then I realize, I'm like, well, I'm fully stood up and I can't see him. The next time I see him, he's going to be coming up the hill, and he's going to pop his head out at 20 yards. So I just dropped the fan and picked up the gun, and 2 seconds later, his head pops up over the... I mean, I couldn't see a feather on this bird. I could just see him from the neck up. And I put the sight on his head and pulled the trigger, and he just disappeared. And about 5 seconds later, I get a text from Trev in the parking lot. He dead? And I said, he didn't flinch. Come and get me.
It was kind of epic to be there and still be part of it, right? But to be in the parking lot, like the anticipation still, like you can't see nothing, you can't do nothing, you're just waiting. I'm waiting. I'm like, dude, I sat in that parking lot for 25 minutes, bro, just waiting.
You want an update, you want a text. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? But you just don't bother him. Just leave him, let him do his thing.
Let it do.
Yeah.
Let it do, boo-boo, And it was kind of funny because I'm like, all right, wait for it. I got the window cracked. I'm like, all right, is it going to go? Boom. And it's over, right? Because you're waiting for it. You're like,
yeah,
all right, if I hear the
follow-up
second
shot, yeah.
Where's the follow-up? Where's the follow-up? And you just know it's done and over with. So then I made my way to meet up with Steve and then head down and kind of do our celebratory thing and hang out and hear the story and see what happens. And it was something else, dude. It was definitely really cool. It was awesome, especially to be on your home turf. And you've been frustrated throughout the whole entire season, not being able to find or roost birds or, and not that, it's kind of funny is, and I'll bring this up and not to poke fun, but just to kind of, to tell the story, right? Mm. And kind of prove the point. Like you were trying to roost birds and not shot gobble them. You were just naturally going into the woods, which there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's a great way to do things when you're scouting. But sometimes when you really want to find those birds, if they're not going to do what they need to do, you have to make that noise. You have to make that initiation.
Yeah,
so you can go in there at first light or last light and sit there, and if you don't hear something, then crack off.
Right.
And try and get that strike of that gobble, to do it naturally.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way. I said before, I've only been turkey on I caught 5.5 years because I actually started in the middle of the season. But the first couple of years, I pretty much just hunted a couple private farms here at my house where I lived, where we are sitting right now, and a good friend of mine's farm across town. Those birds hammer morning and night all the time. I don't know if it's a private land thing. Nobody really messes with them. We've got a pretty good buffer. No one really turkey hunts our borders or anything like that. They're going to gobble every night as soon as they hit the limb, and they're not going to shut up until it gets dark.
Right.
Apparently, public land birds are different, and nobody told me. So I expected I was just going to go out there, sit on the tailgate, drink my coffee, listen to the Yankee game, and wait till one gobbles. It doesn't work because I went maybe 3 weeks without hearing a gobble. You know, and I didn't like.
Hey, I mean, you could and you could also sat on the tailgate the first time and heard one light off. I mean, that's just
Right.
That's luck of the draw, right? And I mean, us guys like myself, I run around, dude, from spot to spot to spot and try and get 3 spots in one night. Like I'll try and owl hoot early or crow call early, try and get one.
Right.
Like those birds there, then you go to the next one, and then the next one. So I'm like moving. I don't want to sit. I want to try and whack them.
Right.
Get them. I was gonna say whack them off, but that didn't work. That was a bad idea.
Well,
I thought about that twice.
Well, the other thing too, we joke around about all the time. I overanalyze a lot of things. I overthink a lot of things. Me and Trev talk about that all the time. So one of the things that was going through my mind is how many other guys have, you hear the story, I think Weddish talks about it, where like, the turkey hears the truck drive down the road, popping on the gravel, pulls over, slams the door shut, ooh, 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 ooh. Nothing gobbles, they slam the door, they start the truck, pulls back off again.
Right.
And the bird don't gobble because he's played the game before. So me being the, over analytical, thinker, you know what? I'm not going to do what the other guy does. I'm just going to pull in there silent. I'm going to get out. And I'm going to let him gobble on his own.
Right.
It doesn't work. It hasn't been working for me on public. So unfortunately for me, no one told me that until the day before opening day. My buddy Ryan Higgins, I was talking to him, and he's, I'm like, dude, I can't find a bird. And he goes, well, what are you doing? And I was like, nothing.
Well, at least he
says, you're just sitting there? You can't do that. Not at night, not in the evening anyways. And I was like, well, what the hell? They gobble at my house. And he's like, nah, dude, that ain't going to work. So, not that I don't trust Higgins. He's, he's one of my best friends. I talk to him every day. I called Trev because he's, Ryan's down in Georgia, so maybe his birds are different. I'm going to call Trev. Trev, listen, I just got off the phone with Higgins. He says I can't do that shit. What do you think? He goes, nah, dude, you can't do that. I'm like, what the hell? So now I'm like, I just wasted 2 weeks of time trying to roost birds silently, not striking nothing up. And I got one full day before opening day, and I don't know where there's a bird that I can hunt opening day. So I get up early Tuesday morning, the day before opening day. The first place I went to, I let out this god-awful screech.
Like a screech owl without the owl.
Like a screech owl without the owl with a nor'easter coyote call.
Kicked in the nuts.
Yeah, I took and guess what?
Sound like a jackass.
And I'm like, holy shit. There's 2 right there, baby. I'm in the game. I got something to set up in the morning.
I figured this one out.
Yep. That's right. So I don't know where we're going with that.
No. But no, it was just to prove the point that like sometimes you do have to go and do that. Like some people might not know. You know what I'm saying? They might do what you're doing, or they might not, or somebody might call you an idiot. But hey, it is what it is. But no, so day 2 of the season was a great day. I mean, you finally came, and that there was that killer's gonna kill kind of instinct on it. Made it happen. Great bird, double bearded, inch and some change spurs, like killer public land bird. Like doesn't get better than that. And then we decided that we were gonna go in day 2. Now this is where shit goes south. This hunt was something else.
I don't consider it south.
It wasn't south, but it was
a highlight for me.
Well, I know, and it was
one of the best turkey hunts I've ever experienced.
It's a different type of experience, I guess you could say. It was one that, like you had hunted with me the day before on day 2 and kind of experienced what should have happened.
Right. Well, let's go over that real quick. So I've already said it 3 times. I consider myself a novice turkey hunter. I'm self-taught. Aside from watching some YouTube videos, I've hunted with my buddy Maddie, but we're both kind of on the same level with turkey hunting experience. I've never had a turkey mentor. I've never went with somebody that kind of show me the ropes or how they did it, and that's how we ended up hunting together on Thursday. I said, one day this week, I want to get out with you. Like I want to see how you do it compared to I've had success. I've figured out ways to get it done, but it's the only way I know. I want to see how you do it and compare it to how I do it and see the differences and what I'm doing the same as you, what I'm doing different than you, what I can change and adapt. And that's how we ended up together on this 2-day hunt. And
so we ended up hunting day 3 together again. So this is the second.
We had already hunted day 2 together. Yeah. Now we're going to day 3.
Day 3. So we end up hiking into a piece of public, one that I've hunted for quite some time. Had a lot of success there, some great birds. And I hadn't pre-scouted it, just kind of knowing, like, hey, these birds are here year after year after year. Let's get in this spot. Let's have some fun. So we end up hiking in. We get to about one spot, and I'm about to owl hoot, and you're like, well, how do you know, like, this, that, and the other thing? And I'm like, listen.
I'm like, when it comes to turkey hunting, I have like a 16-year-old mentality, because it's so new to me. So I'm like I'm pulling on Trev's shirt all day, like, well, what about this? Why do you do this? Like asking all these questions. Yeah. So just I'm trying to get the whole what he's thinking, why he's doing what he's doing, and
me, I'm just like, dude, just shut up, sit back,
shut up, stop thinking, just
let's hunt. But no, so we end up hitting off the owl call. Nothing responded, and I'm like, dude, we got to push a little bit further, but it's still kind of early, so let's wait. So we waited.
You wanted to really confirm that they weren't there. Right there before we blew through there. Yeah.
So then we ended up. So we confirmed that they weren't there. We pushed forward, and they ended up naturally gobbling, I believe. I don't think I had owl hoot at.
No, we just got on top.
Yeah.
And we were just gonna park it for a second.
And then they ended up lighting off on their own. So then we moved in on them, and then the sun's starting to come up. And it's about fly down time. I hear one fly down.
But they're hammering on the roost.
It's like 4 or 5 of them and just going to town. And so then I end up hearing a hen. Yep. And I'm like, all right. I said, I'll show you what we do with this. So this is where war starts. So I get into it with them. Like, if you're going to turn it on, I'm going to turn it on. If you're going to turn it up, I'm going to turn it up. Like, we're going at it. Like, it's like Mayweather and Holyfield, dude. We're gonna fight it out as best that we can, me and the hen. So we're cutting back and forth. We're yelping and cutting and this, that, and the other thing. And these birds are just letting loose. I mean, how? I mean, going nuts. And Steve's like, dude, they're caught up on the stone wall. And I'm like,
there was actually 2 stone walls.
2 stone walls.
But it wasn't a bad setup. It was a property line thing. The first stone wall was the property line, and the second stone wall was on private. So there was nothing we could do about that.
So I said to Martic, I said, listen, if these things get over this stone wall, I says, they're going to be in our lap in a matter of a second. I guarantee you that. I said,
they're just out of sight as is.
Right. I says if they get over this thing and break through this, I said, it's on. It's absolutely and utterly on. So then they're going back and forth kind of on the wall, and you can hear them left to right, and they're trying. They couldn't do it, dude. I think a hen come and scooped them up, drug them off the other way.
The mouthy one stayed with us, so that's what was
the hen did.
Yeah.
That's what she was on our side.
Yeah,
and she was trying to get him to come too.
Right.
And so they end up working their way down to the north of us. And I was like, all right, listen, dude. I says, we got one option. We need to run up there. We need to get ahead of them. We need to call them again and see what happens. So we get down. We get back on the trail. We head down the woods. We try and cut them off. And I get to the other side, and I yell, and it's silent. I'm like, oh, no. I'm like, dude. And Martic's like, what? And I'm like, I'm telling you, I don't think they came this far. I says, we're way too ahead of them. And he's like, what do you mean? I go, I'm telling you, we came way too ahead of them. We got way too far. We need to turn back, cut through the woods. I says, I don't think that they went that far. So we turn back. I start ripping on them again. And the hen starts dragging them away from us. And I'm like, dude, what the frig? I was like, we got to move. I said, we got to move again. And at this point, I can see, like the wheels turning in Martic's head, and his eyes are rolling back, and he's like, like they're trying to think.
Not quite yet. It gets a little more towards that. But at this point, I'm like, okay, all right, yep. But you got to remember, too, I've never been to this piece of public before, and we came into the dark, so I don't know where we are. So I'm just following Trev around aimlessly, and I trust him 100%, but I'm trying to figure it out. Like, where are we? What are we doing? Every time we stop, I'm pulling out my hunt stand and like, all right, okay, we're here now. And I like to drop pins, so like I dropped a pin where those birds started and where they were going. So like I'm slowly starting to figure it out. Trev's just a little faster than me, because he knows the property. He's killed birds there.
Or I don't care. I just run in the woods and then get lost and then try and find onyx on my way out.
That's true. Well, it wasn't so much as getting lost. It
No, I know.
was just what
I know.
what move we were making and why we were making the move and where we were heading and how we were trying to cut the dogs, how we were trying to cut the turkeys off and all that stuff, you know.
So then Martic's like, all right, we got to move forward just a little bit. So we end up moving forward. I start calling. They're still kind of calling, but they're getting distant. And I'm like, all right. So he's like, well, you know what? I go, we got to move one more time. We got to get a little bit closer to him. And he's like, well, you know what? Let me smoke a cig.
No, well, hold on. At first, we had made that one quick set where we were like 40 yards apart, and I was to your left.
Right, and that's what I just said. Then we had to move forward.
But this is when I actually was the one that told you it's time to move because you're calling to them, and I forget how many yards they were away. But again, I was watching on Hunt Stand, and he's calling, and they're vocal. They're responding every time he calls. You know, they're responding, but they're not moving. Every time he calls, they're in the same spot. So I look over at Trev because we're like 40 yards apart. I was like, dude, now it's time to move. Now we got to move because they're not doing nothing, and we only had like I think 250 yards to work with. You know,
yeah,
so
there's not much.
Let's move up. I mean, we got room. You could almost see the property line from where it's pretty open timber. I was like, let's move up as much as we can now, and get the real estate while we can. That's when we moved up, and got set up in that. It was a pretty. I mean, it's wide open timber. I mean, you can see 150 yards, 125 yards, and we found this one. It's like a double blowdown, like a little brushy spot. I mean, it was a pretty sweet spot for two guys to hide out. And so then they still didn't move again, but they were going now they're going back to the south, and I'm like, we got to move again. And then that's when Martic was like, listen, I'm going to smoke a cigarette. They shut up for a while.
They did shut up for a while.
For like
that's right.
An hour.
And I would call every 10, 15 minutes. And I was like, well, you know what? That's where they last were. They were a little bit more to the south. I said, let's move in on them just a little bit closer. And then you were like, well, let me drink some coffee, smoke a cigarette.
You check your TikTok.
Yeah.
Let's
relax for a minute.
I need to make my Instagram post from my kill yesterday, you know, and all that stuff because we really didn't have a move, in my opinion, because the property line's less than 100 yards in front of us.
I don't know. We had to do something.
Yeah, and there's a stone wall.
I didn't want to sit
There's
there.
a stone wall. Yo, do you get antsy? And I'm like, dude, they're not really vocal right now. They don't, you know, you've been playing. You kept saying, Trev kept saying, I'm going to sweet talk them. I'm going to sweet talk them. I'm going to sweet talk. I said, well, then get sweet talking because what you're doing, they're just staying there. Just do something different. You know, they're not. And the way I looked at it was it just wasn't time. They weren't ready to get killed. They were just doing their thing. They were responding, but they weren't acting on it. I said, let's just chill out. You know, drink some coffee, check your TikTok. Let's wait until they're ready. And when they responded back it was about an hour later, they were ready. Yeah,
but that's when I wanted to make one more move to kind of get a little bit closer to him because there had been like a little tiny creek bed. There was two low-lying like little swamp type things, and there's a little creek that kind of connected the two of them in between. And I'm like, with them coming off from the south, which would have been our left, they would have had to come over that. And if they didn't want to come over that, then we were screwed. They would have been pinned up about 45 yards. And I was like, we got to move. Well, so then and he's like, are you sure? I'm like, I don't know, but we got to do something. And then I was like, well, you know what? I says, let's hit the call one more time.
Right.
So I hit the call right.
The tough thing there, too, was we definitely needed to make that move, but if you looked around, you couldn't see a spot to move to. There's no cover. There's no big tree. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, we need to move, but where's the move? We need to do it now. But there's just like really nowhere to go. Like, we're stuck out in the open. And they're coming hard. You know what I mean? Like, we were almost pinned. Where it's like if
they were kind of coming down on a downhill angle.
So it's like in the back of your head, and Trev's 100% right. Like, we needed to move, but it's like if we move and it's too late, we're gonna get caught with our pants down. So I'm like, you know, we might have to stay here. Like, it's not the ideal, but you know, where are we going to go?
And then after hitting the call, there's nothing we can do.
Yeah, we're done.
They've now cleared 100 yards.
We're stuck here now.
In a matter of seconds. So now they're on us. So Steve starts seeing them coming over the stone wall. They're starting to work their way down. He's like, they're right there. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. I'm like, they're okay. Let's do this. So he's like, all right, let's wait for the two birds to come out. They'll clear. He goes, you stay on the first one. I'll shoot the second one, and then you shoot the first one. And I was like, all right. So the first bird comes down, and I watch him, and he hits that creek, that little tiny, we'll call it a creek, but it's not. It's like a little ditch. He hits that and stops, and I'm like, fuck. But he's like strutting his way in there, and so he hits that, and he stops, and I'm like, fuck. I'm like, now what are you going to do? I said, where's the second bird? Where's the second bird? And I'm like, I can probably hit it. It's 45 yards. I said, I probably can shoot it. And I says, where's the second bird? So then here comes the second bird. And he's like, maybe in time, probably 20 seconds behind the first bird. So he comes in, and he trucks right through it. He's about 10 yards closer to us, and he trucks right through it. Doesn't even think about it, comes right through. He comes right out. So as he's starting to come out, and I'm like, dude, I'm going to shoot this bird. I said, when he comes in the opening, and he don't see nothing, he's going to get a little weary. And I start to see him, as he starts to come, he starts to slow down. And you can tell, a lot of the times, if you're watching that bird, man, you watch that bird's feet. When that bird's feet stops in motion or slows down in motion, things are changing. His attitude's changing. You can read the bird by the way that he's walking. When he's coming in and he's coming in fast, now he gets into that zone and he starts to slow down.
Gets a little upright.
When he starts to get, even upright, but when he starts to go and his steps and his strides get shorter and he's not moving forward as much as he was, then things are about to get weird. When you see him stop or go in mid-stride, now things just got serious. So this bird comes out in the clearing, and I'm like, dude, I says, we got to shoot him. Mm-hmm. I says, I got to shoot him. I says, he's coming out, now he's perking up, he's starting to slow down, you got to shoot him now. So I'm like, you want me to shoot him? He's like, yeah, shoot him. So I shot the first bird, and now I'm like, all right, well, now where's the second one? I'm hoping that Martic could get a shot on him. So he's like, call. So I'm like, all right. So I start calling, I start ripping, trying to get him to come over. Maybe he's going to attack the other one, this, that, and the other thing. Well, now I can see the second bird. He's kind of in the thick stuff, but he's starting to get a little weary. Now he's starting to go back to our left-hand side. I'm like, all right, can you see him? I'm like, shoot him. I'm like, he's going. I'm like, he's like, shoot him. So I just shot the second bird.
What happened was the way the cover was, I couldn't see the second bird from where I was. I could see I could have shot the first bird, but we had already, we had a game plan on how we was going to shoot. So Trev could already see the second bird when he shot the first bird. So by the time I could clear cover and find it, Trev was already on it, and it's just like, dude, shoot it.
Well, that was my bird to begin with, or the bird that I was going to shoot because it was the first
bird.
So I'm watching that. So I'm watching that bird and seeing what it does. So now I know where it is. So I don't have to worry about picking him up. I already knew where he was.
Yeah.
So I just shot the bird.
Yeah, because it was the same thing as the first. He was getting ready to scram. It was like either you pull the trigger right now or no one's pulling the trigger.
And that's the thing with open hardwoods. No decoy is a tough thing. It's effective and it works because they have to search for you, but more in thicker stuff. So when you set up on that, it's more of a cover stuff where you're in a thicker situation to be able to get on that bird. You're not going to be able to kill that bird in open hardwoods unless you have some type of screen to get you there. When you're using terrain, if it's a little tiny valley or a little tiny ditch, or if it's, a little, it doesn't have to be much, but just enough that they have to come over, and when they're over, they're already on top of you, they're within 30 yards. They're already in shooting range. And it's just those little things that you have to use. Where we were on flat ground, they're coming down on us on a slight incline, coming down to us. Now they're on a flat, and it's wide open.
I think the cover we were in was our screen. Like they expected
absolutely.
to see the hens
on the other side
behind us. So by the time the first bird got in front of us, he could actually see past us, and that's when he got weird. You know what I mean? Like we were in the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. He thought that he was in the tree, and he come around and he was like, "There's nothing here."
Right.
Now what? Now it's on. And it was just epic. It was absolutely epic from the start to the finish. It was just absolutely epic, man. These birds, Martic said it. He's like, dude, he was talking to Higgins on the phone. He's like, I don't think I've ever heard that many gobbles in a turkey hunt. It was close to 300 gobbles.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of gobbles. What really did it for me was you talking shit with that hen. I've heard hen vocals. I've never got as aggressive as you with the call. And to hear that interaction with you getting mouthy with her and her firing back, and the more she fired back, the more you fired back. Like, that was pretty cool to just sit back and watch.
I don't know. Dude, I have just as much fun, if not more fun, with fighting with a hen than I do a tom, because I don't know, something about it just. I don't know, dude. If one wants to come and slap me in the face, well, guess what, dude? We're gonna have fun. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, it's. I don't know. It's just one of those things. And then you have your passive aggressive hens too that don't. They're not gonna be like that. They're gonna just wheel off the other way. They're gonna just tow them off.
Yeah.
But there's those ones that just, dude, they will drag into you like nothing else, bro.
So for the listeners out there that don't really know, you'd agree, like, you basically want to match that hen.
100%.
So if she seems passive, you don't want to really get too much more louder or more aggressive than her. If she wants to get a little aggressive, you just kind of want to match her.
Well, it's one of those things. So like if she's making some type of, so sometimes she might, if you know that tom is with a hen and she's not making any noise, that's when it's like the convincing yelp, or the just the calm, cool, collective yelp, like, I'm over here, what's up, like, just yep, 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 yep. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just that yep, 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 yep. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to get too excited. You just want to stay cool, calm, and collective, and just kind of like a convincing yelp. Just chill. And a lot of times that will bring those hens in, especially if they're a little bit more aggressive, if they're not making any noise. But when those hens decide that they want to snap at you and they want to cut and they want to come and fight, you just give it to them, bro. Just roll it on. If they're cutting, cut. If they're cutting, cut. If they're yelping, yelp. If they're whatever they're doing, man. If you got and they want it, just give it to them, dude. Just pour it on, because they're gonna come tailing in like you've never seen. I mean, there's some videos that we have on the YouTube page. Steve, when was that last one? Was it the last one? Yeah, the nasty hen.
I think it was 2 weeks ago that we put up that you cut with. We cut a lot out of that because you fought with her for 13 minutes straight.
Trev loves talking shit to the bitches.
I mean, if they're gonna go, we're gonna go. You know, I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, they do call me the bearded hen, but no, it's it's one of those things that, like, I don't know. I just like messing around with them, dude. They're fun. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times they have their boyfriends are in tow. So if you can get them to come, their boyfriends are coming with them.
It's really cool for you to talk about that and hear you talk about that, because you don't hear people talk about interacting with hens much. It's all about calling in toms and how to talk to a tom and sweet talk a tom and get them in. But there's not a lot of people out there talking about what to do with the hens, you know?
Well, I mean, sometimes there's some situationals where you have to cater to the hens. There's a lot of times.
They're almost like they're a blocker, so you got to deal.
100%.
You got to deal with her to get to him.
I mean, that's Maryland to a T.
At the same time, though, a hen is a live body decoy.
Right.
100%.
Right. So if you can talk, you want to get her in there. So you got to know how to talk with her, and not really. You know, you're using her to get to the tom.
You have to remember, it's one of those things. Is I kind of look at it like this: is, you keep your friends close, but you keep your enemies closer. That bitch is the biggest enemy you'll ever have. She will ruin your day quicker than you could ever think about it. Honestly, like that, she can ruin your day. Your morning, your afternoon, she can ruin it if she wants, because she's going to wheel and deal with them and take them wherever they want. So if you can convince them and you can play with them and get them to do what you want to do, I mean, you got to match them, dude. I mean, if you don't even know, a lot of people, and 90% of people that are turkey hunting, they've never even heard a hen in the woods. They've never heard those natural noises. So the more you can play with that thing, what are you going to do? Screw it up? It doesn't matter. You don't want her near you anyways. Or it's not that you don't want her near, but that's not what you're after. So if you can play with her and see what you can get away with, then you can get away with 3 times more with a tom. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I like playing with them. I like bringing them in. And look, I got lucky and shot a bearded hen because I brought in a bearded hen because I was playing with them. I was cutting with them on a glass call. I mean, it's just the way it goes. I don't know. So, but it was fun. It was fun in the morning, cutting at her and getting them to gobble, and then just the whole hunt in a whole was just a killer hunt. It was absolutely epic.
One of my most memorable turkey hunts I've ever been on. I didn't even pull the trigger. And I don't even care. It doesn't. That's not what it's about for me. It was an awesome, awesome, awesome experience for me.
I mean, those hunts.
And I didn't have to waste a $10 TSS,
Dude,
you know.
and it's the past. Well, I didn't waste one on today's hunt in real world, but the past 2 hunts I've had to shoot fucking twice. My Maryland bird I shot twice, and then I had to shoot twice on this turkey hunt. I'm going through shells like nothing. They only come in boxes of 5. So technically I went through almost a box of shells.
And they ain't cheap.
Dude. But you know what? It's worth it.
They're worth it.
Very effective.
Yeah. Right.
And there's those people out there that talk crap on the TSS.
Yeah.
And I mean, Steven went to TSS.
Yep.
I went to TSS. You went to TSS, or you been shooting TSS. I mean, for coyotes and stuff like that. It's a very effective round. And it's not, everyone goes and they talk shit about it, right? And they say, well, why would you want to do that? If you can't get them within 40, you don't deserve that bird. Why would you have to shoot that far? It's not about shooting that far. Don't you want the most legal, ethical shot that you can get on a bird? Then why wouldn't you shoot TSS?
Yeah, it ain't about distance.
No.
5 yards is pretty much all you need.
What happens when you shoot a bird with TSS?
They don't flop. They don't. You know when you kill a bird, if you're still shooting lead, and there's nothing, lead kills them, there's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
You shoot lead and they start beating those feathers, beating those wings, and there's feathers flying everywhere. You shoot them with TSS, they don't lose a feather.
Remember the whole term, can't stop the flop? Well, guess what? I just stopped it with TSS.
I got a buddy who says, you shoot TSS, you shoot them in the face, and you break their feet.
Yes.
It just goes through their whole body.
So true, man. It's a sick, sick way of doing things. Like it's
And who's your? I'm gonna butch this up. Your arrow building buddy. Mark.
Gary.
So his brother's Mark. He had
His father's Mark.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I get them all mixed up.
That
There's
guy.
a bunch of them. Yeah. He had a saying about arrows, and it makes sense with turkey hunting too. How many turkeys have you killed with your shotgun?
A lot.
None. You kill them with the shot.
Oh, very good call.
Right? You kill
Very
them with
good
the
call.
shot. And what Gary says,
I was being cocky and pompous.
Right. What Gary,
asshole.
the original saying is how many deer have you killed with your bow? None. You kill them with your arrow. You kill them with your broadhead. That's the most important part of your setup is that arrow and broadhead.
That's so true.
That's what's killing the deer. And it's the same thing with the turkey. It ain't the shotgun that's killing them. It's the shot that you're putting in their face. So why not shoot the most effective, round, the best pattern you can?
Why do turkey hunters shoot with 3.5-inch shells? You don't need it.
TSS is so good, guys. You're shooting a 20 gauge.
I shoot a 20 gauge 3-inch.
Guys are going down to 410s. They're not legal in Connecticut, but the guys are killing them with 410s at 40,
Steven?
50 yards all day.
Steven hunts with a 410
Yep.
with
now,
TSS.
Now you're running and gunning with a lighter gun. It just
Why shooting over and under?
right.
I carry a light ass over and under,
Right.
and I shoot it in 20 gauge. If I could, I'd shoot it in a 410.
I have had the same, if not better, effect with TSS in a 410 than I have from a 3.5-inch shooting number 6s. And it doesn't matter what mix you have, whether it's 4.57s or whatever, heavy shot or longbeard XR. Take your pick. That TSS does the same thing on steroids.
It's I learned it when I was down at your house, Steve, in Virginia. I mean, I shot my 3.5-inch 12 gauge, longbeard XRs. I shoot the barrel at like 30 yards or whatever it is, and then I took my 20 gauge and I took a shot at that. The amount of, we'll call it penetration, because that's what it was in the steel barrel, was astronomical. I was like, dude, you have to be kidding me.
The 3.5 doesn't penetrate the steel barrel, but the TSS goes right through it.
Rips into it.
Well, the other thing, some people might not even know what we're talking about or fully understand it, but when you're talking payloads with turkey loads, like old school lead, you got your guys that shoot like 4s, you got 5s, you got 6s. I used to shoot 5s, but the game you're playing there is you can only fit so much weight. Say it's 2 ounces of load. Well, if you got 4s, they're bigger pellets, so they're going to carry the kinetic energy down range because they're heavier. But you're going to have less pellets. You're going to have more holes in your pattern. If you want to go up to say 6s, you're going to have more pellets, so you're going to have less holes in your pattern. But because the pellets are lighter, they're going to carry that kinetic energy. Less kinetic energy downrange because they're lighter. When you go to tungsten, the tungsten's heavier than lead, so you can actually shoot. What is it? Two 2-shot sizes?
2 shots, yep.
Yeah.
2-shot size smaller pellet carries the same kinetic energy as larger. So instead of shooting a 4 or a 5, now we're shooting 7.5. So you're getting twice the amount of pellets, less holes in your, more pellets in the pattern, not a tighter pattern, but just a fuller pattern, but it's hitting as hard as we were shooting our number 5s at greater distances.
Correct. It's like, I mean, if I could, I shoot 9s.
Oh, without a doubt.
We can't shoot
And the
them
only
here.
reason we don't is because
I do.
of the
It's not
law.
legal.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I love my 9s. They're
I did-
lethal.
I mean, I shot them in Virginia, but I didn't shoot anything, but I have them.
Yeah.
We shot at.
We shot at, right. So I have to
We
shoot a
tested
7.5 here, but it's, I don't know. The TSS is a great thing, and it's it's a continuing argument. It's just like the Ashby theory and heavy arrows and all that shit. I mean, it's whatever you're into, man, and whatever you think is right? I mean, like it's Dodge, Ford, Chevy, bro.
Yeah.
If you want to drive a shit box, dude, and shoot lead, then have at it. I mean, it's just the way it goes. I'm just kidding. Nobody got that. I mean, come on, boys.
Oh, no,
Where were
trust
you?
me, I'm in the background just laughing.
Jeez, but
Yeah,
no,
you pick your poison. It's just like your bow. You shoot what's comfortable. You shoot
That's
what you trust. And I'm never going to knock anyone for it. But when you start questioning why didn't that bird go down, or why did this happen or that happen?
Why'd he walk off and I didn't,
Yeah.
he
Why did
wasn't-
I shoot him and he still flopped for 60
I had
yards?
to pass him at 45 yards because I have a 40-yard max.
Yeah. There are options.
it's just fun, man. You got to get out there. You got to do it. You got to fail. You got to have fun. You got to enjoy it. I mean, that's what it's all about,
Well, that's
honestly.
half the fun of turkey hunting is gear. Oh, I want to try this. Ooh, let's try that. Hey, buy that. Hey, try this.
This call, that call, what sounds best, what doesn't,
Yeah. At the end of the day, you can, as Trev proved, you can call him in on a friggin' oyster shell
I mean, you
and kill him
can.
with a stick bow.
It is. I mean, it's what you want to make of it. I mean, in turkey hunting, you could fail 1,000,001 times. You can think that you haven't figured it out, but you don't, because they'll figure you out. You can try to do it one way, whether it's deer hunting for them, hunting them out of a blind, running and gunning, whatever you think. I mean, you can do it any way you want, and that's one thing about turkey hunting. And the cool thing about turkey hunting is, if my neighbor shot my turkey, I wouldn't be pissed because I really don't care because it's a turkey.
Yes.
If you shot my giant whitetail, I'd be pissed.
I said that to Trev. Trev
You said
so
that.
Trev doubles up in front of me, and I had doubled up in front of a buddy last year. And it was same concept. I was going to shoot one, he was going to shoot the other. Shit got western quick. Shit happens, and bullets got to fly, and shit's got to die. You know what I mean? So same thing happened with me and Trev. I'm 100%. I'm in his ear. Shoot, kill him. I don't care. I can't kill him. You better kill him, So after the dust settles, Trev turns to me. He's like, dude, I'm sorry. I'm like, dude, don't be sorry, man. Like, I'm cool. Don't worry about me. You know what I mean? So, I'm like, and I looked at him. I said, dude, I'm cool. Like, you do that every time in front of me, dude. Congratulations. Now, if that was a 150 standing there, we'd be fighting. That's a different story. But
It's just a
turkey,
turkey.
you could have shot all three. I wouldn't.
That's
care.
right. That's right. That's absolutely right. Oh, what do you got? You got a problem over there?
Firewood.
Oh, he's got to go fix the fire again. He's putting down the mic. We're actually using the mics by hand instead of stands here. The Southern boys got to fill up the old fire.
It is getting a little chilly out.
It
It's
is,
a
man.
beautiful night, though.
It
man.
is. The
stars
sun's-
are out.
The sun. I almost said the sun is out. The stars are out, like you said, and it's absolutely gorgeous, man. Thanks for having us up here. Honestly,
Thanks for coming, man.
it was cool. This is awesome. We got to podcast outside by the fire, a little bit mobile here.
There's
and
not very many places in Connecticut where you can sit and not hear a car drive by.
that, or there's not very little light pollution here. It's
I got the Foxwoods light over here.
oh, is that what that is
That's
from Foxwoods?
yeah.
That's
the
nuts.
wonder of it all.
The wonder. Is that what they say? This is the wonder of it all. Well, at least you know where Martic lives is by Foxwoods. So what do you got planned for the rest of the turkey season, buddy? I know that you had kind of like your turkey turkeycation.
Yeah, so I took our season opens on a Wednesday, so I took Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off, so I got the 4 days with Saturday. We can't hunt Sundays. I'm back to work on Monday. So for the, grinding wise, I'm pretty much going to be a weekend warrior from here on out. Unfortunately, I've got our buddy Cody is getting married. Don't ask me the date. Middle of May on a Saturday, so that's I gotta bust his balls about that. I mean, the first thing you never do is never get married in November. The second thing, you never get married in May, right? You don't get married.
Turkey season.
You don't
Come
get
on.
married during deer season. You don't get married during turkey season, Cody.
Right.
Whoops.
We'll talk about that later.
You failed.
So I'm gonna miss out on that Saturday, and then the last, what is it, 5 days of the season? I fly out. I'm heading to Miami. Can you imagine me in Miami? I'm gonna fit right in.
Yeah, more than you think.
Well, I don't speak Spanish, so no hablo. So I'm heading to Miami. I'm actually going to be in one of my very good friends, CV's wedding, Memorial Day weekend. So I'll be in Miami. I think I fly out the 26th. So by the time I come home, turkey season will be over. So, but I'm going to get out. I go back to work Monday. I'm going to get out in the morning. I'm going to try to roost some birds now that I know how to do it properly.
That's good. At least you figured out something this
you live
turkey
and learn,
season.
You better learn something every time you go in the woods.
Yep.
Wouldn't be no point in going.
Right. So, I start work just late enough where like I could make a play on something if he was really hot and I really had him pegged down. So,
What are we talking about in Miami?
We'll see. Hey, what happens in Miami stays in Miami.
Have him pegged down.
So,
If he's really hot.
yeah, we'll see what happens. But turkeys, I don't treat turkey season like I treat deer season. Like I'm starting to become that guy, but right now, like even coming into turkey season, it really wouldn't bother me if I don't even kill a turkey in the season, as long as I get in the game with one and I get to play the game and dance with them and play that cat and mouse game. I'm happy, So I got my bird. I'm happy with that. If I get 1 or 2 or 3 more, I'll be fine with that. But I'm satisfied.
There's nothing wrong with that, man. We had a great season as it is. I could close it up tomorrow, dude, and I could call it done, dude. Honestly.
Isn't it crazy how it was kind of like, we're only 4 days in, 4 full days of hunting in on turkey season. And it's like almost
for you. I've been going for 2 weeks.
You started early too. All right, Connecticut, we're 4 days in. And with the conditions, with the wind and stuff, it's almost been like a sneaky banger. Because it felt slow, like not a lot of action, but shit was dying too. So it was like a struggle, and then someone would get one killed, and then it was like, what the hell is going on? Not a lot of action, and then we get one killed, and then
one more.
Yeah, another one drops, and then another one dropped today that I'm not going to say nothing about it, but you'll find about that soon, and then you guys were about halfway to my house. We get a call from another buddy, and he killed tonight. So they're stacking up slowly, but it's that's what I'm saying. Like it's like sneaky banger. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't just like right off the rip, bang, 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 bang. But they're piling up.
Absolutely, man. Well, as it winds down, the fire's starting to crest down. I got one question, and you've probably answered it 1,000,001 times and think about it all the time. And might as well ask you. We're at your place. We're doing this turkey recap for, your turkey hunting and turkey hunting together, man. What drives you outdoors, Steve?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Every time.
Yeah. I've heard every single answer that you guys have ever asked everybody, and they're all great.
Is yours better?
Nah, I don't know. You guys can be determine
That's
that.
independently
My
determined.
answer is so complex but so simple at the same time. It's embedded. Everyone says it's in my roots. My grandpa did it. My dad did it. It's so far into my DNA. Like I look at it as like it goes back to like prehistoric times with cavemen. It's just this drive to get meat, bring to fire.
Primitive
the
thing.
Primitive, just hunter gatherer. It's just a burning desire in me to just go out and provide and just be a hunter and gatherer. And I couldn't see myself not.
You're too close to the casino. That's why.
Yeah, well,
it's a reservation land. Are we on reservation land?
Growing up, it was a little bit of cowboys and Indians, but But yeah, I mean, a lot of people talk about roots, but it's deep roots. It's DNA.
You can hear the fire on the mic.
Oh, it's so
Yeah.
Can you hear it?
great.
Beautiful.
Isn't it beautiful? I don't think I've never podcasted by a fire before. I don't think
This is some epic shit.
No.
I've podcasted in some weird places and stuff, but
Yeah, never around a fire.
no,
I like it.
I'm into it. It's definitely good.
We'll have to borrow this with Will.
Yeah, right.
Hey, Martic, we'll be up there.
Yeah, you guys are
Tuesday.
welcome here anytime. Plenty of firewood to burn.
Jeez.
I mean, what gets better than this? We got some good bourbon. We got some halfway decent cigars from the gas station. You know.
These are turkey cigars, bub.
Yep.
They go in the doob tube.
Yep. True story. But no, we got some good bourbon. We got cigars. We got a campfire going, and we're podcasting. So I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. My truck's right there. The tailgate's still bloody. I mean, life's good.
It's real good.
I like it. Well, guys, it's been a hell of a night. And Mr. Martic.
Wait till you see what happens when this mic gets turned off.
Ooh.
It's gonna get wild.
And with that, we will sign off live from Martic's mansion on the mountain.
No, you live on the mountain. We call this the hill.
Y'all are just going to have to stay tuned and keep taking this ride right here on the Outdoor Drive.